The Sixth Doctor's 40th anniversary celebrations continue at Big Finish this month as the trials of a Time Lord see him face a trio of old enemies. The Dastardly Davros, the antagonistic Androgams, and the sinister Cybermen are all back for this six-part epic release. And so we thought, trio of enemies, trio of throwback reviews, starting off with the first time David Banks reprised his role as the cyber leader for Big Finish opposite Colin Baker's Sixth Doctor. It is Hour of the Cybermen, the 2018 summer blockbuster release, as we like to call it.
Of a sort of starter, isn't it, really?
Yeah, they certainly had a few things that somewhat fit that category.
Uh,
I think they also started being a bit more seasonal in general. Then you
yeah.
get more Christmassy releases around this time too. I mean, not around this time of year, but around this time in Big Finish's history.
Yeah, I mean, this release is quite big because the year after, because this release was such a hit with listeners, Andrew Smith was commissioned to do Emissary of the Daleks, Sixth Doctor and Perry Dalek story, which was, the summer blockbuster of 2019.
Yeah. And I think this one felt particularly summery because it's set during a drought.
And we were in a drought.
Yeah,
we had
we were.
It was the summer of 2018, and for once in our little island's history, we had sun for a long time.
Yeah. Although it wasn't sun that was causing this particular drought in this story.
No,
I mean it's the Cybermen. I think it's no big spoiler to say. Yeah, I mean that is your initial idea for this story. It's the Doctor teaming up with 1980/1990s unit. I think it's 90s at this point.
Yes, I mean we should
from...
point out this is the second in a unit trilogy featuring Daniel Hopkins. You don't really need to listen to Heliax Rift to understand this. This feels very standalone. Likewise with like Warlock's Cross and stuff. It's a weird trilogy because they were released, throughout the year, so they're not
spread out rather than back to back.
They're not your classic monthly range format of a trilogy. So
I mean, 2018 wasn't your classic monthly range format of a year. Like the trilogies were a bit more split up, and it was a funny one.
Yeah, it's a solid year.
Yeah,
I'd say.
Yeah, but with Heliax Rift and Warlock's Cross, they both you need to listen to Heliax Rift and Hour of the Cybermen to get Warlock's Cross. But Hour of the Cybermen itself sort of stands on its own in the middle, as you can just dive into this one and you'll be fine.
Yeah, well, you get sort of the precursors
it works.
With Daniel Hopkins with that, with a little bit of exposition with the Doctor and Daniel when they reunite. Because it's interesting because they don't have your typical unit relationship where this unit loves the Doctor.
I quite like that approach.
Yeah, there's a different edge, and I like that it's doing something a little bit different to what we've seen on screen with things.
It's unit without the comfort of the Brigadier now. Or, you got the new series unit, which the Doctor's almost a celebrity at, really. Here you're in this in-between period where they're slightly antagonistic towards the Doctor.
Yeah. Because they're trying to stand on their own 2 feet. They want their own independence. That, look, you can go off and do your things, but we want to make sure that we have security.
They want to know that they can do it themselves.
Yeah.
Without the Doctor there to fall back on. Which makes perfect sense. But at the same time, when you've got the Doctor, you might as well use him to your full advantage. Because he's definitely someone you want on your side and not batting against you.
So that all comes into play with unit having their own sort of satellite system, isn't it?
It's this early warning system. I mean, not the first time that units had that, because that's pretty much what the Hotspur network was in.
Yes, true, true.
Although that's a third Doctor adventure called The Unzal Incursion, or that was written and released after this. But funny how these ideas often recur. It's a very clever idea using the drought, because the Cybermen oftentimes they're using emotion against their opponents. You've got those moments in Earthshock where the cyber leader's taunting the Doctor, threatening Tegan's life to make him comply, and saying, "Surely now you'll admit emotion is a weakness." Whereas here, it's looking at, flesh as a weakness instead. The fact that it relies on certain things like water.
And that's such
And
a really good idea to
yeah,
sort of use a weakness against it. So you've got humans begging to be upgraded.
hmm, yeah. And David Banks is, of course, brilliant as the cyber
Excellent.
leader. No, it feels like, he hasn't really been away in this one. It's that same character. It's what you know from TV. It's
Hmm.
all there. The story itself feels very true to the era,
This
but
feels
not.
like a missing episode soundtrack. Like you can believe that we lost the visuals for this and we just have the soundtrack because the music is so 80s out there
Yeah.
and the story it's just firing on all 80s cylinders. I think for me, this is probably my top three Sixth Doctor Big Finish stories.
Ooh, it's got to be up there.
It's really good.
Uh, but I think it also feels different from the 80s at the same time. In some ways, it feels more 70s, 60s in its sensibility. It
Hmm.
feels like maybe what the show would have done had it continued in that same direction it was going back then.
Hmm.
It doesn't quite feel like John Nathan Turner Doctor Who. And I think it certainly doesn't feel season 22, but it still feels right for the 80s. It's hard to explain.
Hmm.
Right. But I mean, I adore it for that. I
It's
think
just nice action-packed moment full of some twists and turns and some surprises.
it feels
Uh,
quintessential Sixth Doctor, really.
it is, I think, if you're not a fan of Colin's Doctor, I think that this is definitely one of the stories you need to check out because it shows what Big Finish have done with Colin's Doctor
Hmm.
wonderfully. That you get the nice sort of softer moments when he's sort of comforting a character who's been partially converted, and her sort of not being all there with her memory, and you really get to see sort of the comfort, but also you still get that sort of fiery temperament of the Sixth Doctor there.
Yeah, there's a wonderful compassion to him in this story that's on full display. Like, I really do adore this one. I think it's something very special, and it flies past. It's an easy listen. It's not the chunkiest of four-parters, but at the same time, it's not short either.
Yeah, you
But
still
I
get your
think,
money's worth out of it.
yeah, but I think it does fly past when you're listening to it. It's action-packed. It's got quite a few twists and turns, as you said. Yeah, I can't think of much wrong with it. I just
You
do have a
can't.
good time with it. It's easy to stick on and enjoy, really.
You've got
Like,
David Banks. You've got his little sidekick Mark Hardy, who talks a bit like this leader. It's great fun having those back, and I think that's the thing. It feels such a different type of Big Finish because normally we have Nick Briggs and we love Nick, but
yeah.
this adds an element of freshness and era authenticity. What Big Finish has been really going for the past couple of years.
Hmm. Yeah, it certainly represented the change of direction for Big Finish, I suppose, because
Yeah,
before this, you were almost guaranteed if it's a Cyberman story, it would be the invasion Cybermen on
yeah,
the cover.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think if it was anything other than that, it was a rarity. That was like a special occasion, whereas the invasion Cybermen were the go-to ones.
Much like the 60s Daleks, they were sort of the Big Finish Daleks.
Yeah, but then since then, around this time, something has switched, and we are getting more, era appropriate
Yeah,
Daleks and Cybermen on covers, which is
which is
nice
great.
to see.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder if one day we'll go so far as getting 80 Cybermen up against 70s or 60s Doctors, even.
Hmm.
Would they go for that? I
I
wonder.
don't know.
The boots on the other foot there.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. I feel slightly uncomfortable.
Ooh. I mean, third Doctor. he faced him in five Doctors.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to like an older third Doctor and Sarah.
Hmm. Yeah, so what happened to them after the five Doctors?
Yeah, that'd be a nice little fun little gap to mine.
Yeah, I mean, did anything happen to them after the five Doctors?
Who
Probably not,
knows?
but it's Big Finish. There's a
There's a
gap they can
story.
make. They will make it.
Let's find a way.
Yeah. Anyway, we've
Um,
sort of drifted from the point of this review.
the
Hour of
Hour
the
of a
Cybermen.
Cyberman.
Yeah.
Should we give
I'd
it a
say it's
rating?
8, 9 out of 10.
I'll give it a 9. I think it's a
Mm.
really solid one.
Yeah.
And
I
this led to great things because the year after we got Warzone and Conversion, the Fifth Doctor facing David Banks, Cyber Leader again. So this was the start of something quite magic.
Yeah. And now it's even led to David Banks going up against Colin once more for the trials of a Time Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to working out what this one is about exactly, because it seems to have a lot going on. So
Yeah.
we'll see quite how all those pieces fit together at the end of this month.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know if you're looking forward to Trials of a Time Lord, and let us know your thoughts on Hour of the Cybermen as well, if you have it. If not, have we persuaded you to pick it up? Do let us know. Be interested to hear all your thoughts down in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next Sixth Doctor throwback review.
What
which
is
will
it?
be The Widow's Assassin, as we take a look at the other time Perry returned to the Sixth Doctor's side following Trial of a Time Lord. Not trials, trial. It's going to
Mm-hmm.
get confusing.
It is.
Uh-huh.
But
But
until
until
then,
then, oh, we're in sync.
there we are. We
How we do?
are Cyber Brew.
Take care, everyone.
Bye bye.